All right, good morning. Get the 9th week of the season already. I mean, this thing's flown by, but had a good weekend. Obviously, good Saturday and a good Sunday. It's nice to have one of those. Just happy for our kids. You need to have success. You can't have it every week. We know it's not easy, but it's even harder to go on the road and get an ACC win against a good football team. Duke fought their tails off, and I give them a lot of credit, but our kids came out on top. But we get to come home to Heinz Field. We got a great Virginia team coming in here, a 5-2 team that's got notable wins against North Carolina and Duke. Bronco's got a tough football team. He's in his second season. What I see on tape is a tough football team that's physical, like we'd like to be, and plays through the whistle. And you just got a lot of respect for the way their kids play hard. They had a tough one up at BC this weekend against against a good football team, and a team that's on the rise as well. I guess with BC, we don't get to watch them much, but so we're just ready for that next one. So just move on to the next.
Follow up on Darren's performance Saturday. I mean, once you sort of reviewed it and watched the tape, I mean, how realistic is it to? I mean, 250 is one thing, but how realistic is it to expect him to sort of stay being the guy and stay providing that run game that you need?
Well, right now he's the guy. It's his job, and I think he's got a lot of confidence right now. I think he feels good. I think he's playing fast. I think he's kind of in a groove a little bit. I mean, you saw him make some cuts that he doesn't make very often. And Coach Powell's been preaching about making somebody miss and getting yards after contact. So it's good to see someone take to it and make something happen. But that doesn't go without like a Quadriolus blocking his tail off for him. If you see it, there's a lot of two-back sets in there. Where Quadri's in there, also blocking his tail off. So, we have an unselfish football team that guys play for each other, and whether it's Quadri running and Darren blocking, or vice versa, our guys are out there playing hard.
Have you had a chance to learn the extent of Lamonte's injury and just how big of a loss it is?
No, our doctors and trainers, they were out yesterday. They were on vacation. They were in the Bahamas, so we have not had a chance to evaluate that. Right? Now, will you talk to him afterwards? I mean, he's in there placing. I mean, you got me? Thanks. Appreciate you.
I think you seem to have some stability now at quarterback, running back, on the offensive line. Did it feel good to carry that into the latter half of the season?
It doesn't feel good, because you only feel good Saturday after a game if things go good. To me, you're only as good as your last game. So, our offensive line, our running backs, Darren Hall, all the rest of those guys, quarterbacks, they can't get a fat head or we'll be right back where we were. We got to go back to work tomorrow. They were in, sometime between 11 and 2 today, having brunch and watching tape and moving on to the next one. But you better forget real quick about what you did last week, because nobody really cares. On Saturday afternoon, you guys won't care what they did last week. Everybody, will long forget about what happened there, and it's all what what have you done for me today. So.
Have you seen teams get a fat head for just one victory?
Yeah. I mean, we got to stay in the moment. I mean, especially when you have a young team. So we're going to go out there and have a hard week of practice, and there will be no feeling good. There's no doubt. Some guys could feel good, like, oh, we're there. We know what we're doing. We got it. Not so fast.
What do you think of your quarterback play after watching it all? I mean, I know you were pretty happy with it in the moment. Saturday is pretty much the same thing on record.
Happy with some of the run game stuff. Not as happy with the pass game stuff as you look at it. I think he missed some plays. Got to be a little bit more composed in the pocket, but that'll come with time too. I think it's Duke has had a ton of sacks. I think 21 sacks on the year, something like that. I mean, had high sack numbers and brought a lot of zone pressures and a lot of man coverage. But that goes with a young quarterback. It's not going to be perfect, and I think it's a work in progress.
On Darren's 2 long runs, I mean, the middle was wide open. The offensive line really hadn't created a hole. How much progression have you seen from them as a unit over the last couple of weeks?
Well, a little bit. I mean, it all depends on the coverage you're playing. I mean, they're playing a lot of man free and or quarters, and they're down in there trying to stop the run. They got guys running after the jet sweep, and you make one mistake inside, when you're running inside zone, and it pops and it could be gone. And that's really what it's kind of an all or none, kind of like we did at the they were kind of selling out like it was 4th and 1 a few times. And it's kind of what we did when we were trying to get the ball back against North Carolina State, put them all up there too much, and sometimes it gets you, and then sometimes you make a play. Because I think they had like 8 TFLs, so sometimes they won, sometimes they lose. But when you lose, we might lose a 3-yard -3, but you might get a +92. So, but that's defense. That's the world we're living in today.
You talked after the game about how Brian O'Neill sort of stepped up and maybe said something to the guys before the game Saturday. Can you give us a little glimpse exactly?
Not really, and it wasn't just a Jerry. It wasn't just a game day thing. It was a weekly thing. I just think he's just stepped up and is kind of fed up with not only what we were doing attitude-wise, but what we were doing structurally as well. So it was just a little bit of both. Just kind of a, hey, let's do this. Let's be real good at this, and let's go. And that's kind of what it was. It was good to see someone step up and say something.
What did the differences Pitt had if you noticed on tape from Virginia? They went 2-10 last week. They were competitive in some of their bigger games. But they're not going to 5-2 start now. What kind of differences, what sort of changes have you seen in the early on in your evaluation?
Again, I think I started off saying, really, I see a tough football team. I see a physical football team. They like to throw it on offense. They're very multiple on defense. 3 down, but aggressive defensively and aggressive offensively. You're going to chuck it down the field and do a lot of different things. You won't know what personnel, and if there are 3 backs, 2 backs, 5 tight ends. I mean, you won't know that. Kind of looks like it's all over the place as far as just trying to figure out who's in the game. I don't know how the officials will find out if they got 11 or 12 in the game, to be honest with you, with all the people that are in and out of the game. But I see a physical football team, that's playing hard for Bronco, and I think that's where it starts. If you'll play hard and if your matchups are good things happen.
What happened in Boston College games? Going wrong pretty good. They come home and they play a 500 game and they won.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can ask Bronco that maybe. He's got to tell you. But I see a good BC football team, which always plays good defense. That did a good job controlling them, and BC was able to make some big plays on them. But came down to explosive plays.
Obviously, you and Ben are on the same page as far as what he has to do to knock him out of the game. What did you tell Kenny about that game in terms of not using him and not giving him any reps Saturday?
I think for a young guy like Kenny, I mean, everybody wants to get in, but the run game was going good, and we weren't making mistakes, weren't turning the ball over. So I think that kind of goes with it. I wouldn't take Kenny out. I wouldn't take Max Brown if things are going good. So it's just a matter of how things are going, and it goes down to really a field thing. Do we need a spark? Do we need something else?
Pat, we've asked you a lot this year about the running game, but I was looking at the conference-wise. The 2 leading rushers in the conference are Lamar Jackson and Marshall. I'm just wondering, as you look at film, are defenses adjusted? Is the last year you had James, you had Dalvin Cook, and it seems like this might be the first time ever ACC has a leading rusher that's not a running back. Is that sort of symptomatic of just the way the game's going?
Lamar's a running back, right? I mean, he's a back. I mean, that guy can run, and that doesn't shock me. But I think every year's different. I mean, I think personnel is different. That's why you kind of look at personnel matchups, whether it's a quarterback. I mean, last year was a good year tailback-wise. It was a great running back year. This year, maybe not as much, but we got some receivers that go up and get the ball and are making plays in the passing game. So I think every year is a little bit different, and every year can't be the same. That's what I'd say, Will. But there's still good players and good football teams.
With specialization too, though. I mean, you've tried it where you've given lots of guys opportunities, and that's what I've noticed when I look down the rosters. Lots of guys are getting 5, 6, 7, 8 carries a game. I mean, is that when you've got? If you don't have one guy, then maybe you need 4 guys.
Maybe. Until you find the one guy. I mean, Darren Hall didn't have many carries until he did, and 24 carries, and all of a sudden you probably get more now.
Other than wins and losses over the last 4 games, what are you looking for from these guys?
Looking for guys to come back the next week and try to win one more. It's all about the next game, and we're 0-0 right now and just working on the next. I mean, that's the thing. Come out and work again. Forget what you've done in the past and move on to the next one. Are
you seeing some things that might carry over the off season?
In the off season, you're looking way ahead, but I'm looking for things to carry over for this week. Confidence-wise, fundamentally, in every respect. There was, again, Saturday there were some good things and some bad things, some things that we got to still clean up, special teams wise, offensively, defense. We didn't help our football team out in the third quarter with any field position at all, by making poor decisions in the kick return game and not getting the ball past the 25-yard line. So we put our offense in a rough spot in the third quarter. So we got a lot of things that we need to improve on, and that's what we're going to be focused on, not the off season.
plays that made for bad field position for your defense was Adamitis with the penalty with his helmet coming off. What happened on that play? What did you tell him?
You know, what do you tell him? I mean, it's hard to tell a kid, hey, you know, they got 11 guys over, you got 10. You know, he should be able to at least run down the field, not hit anybody. I think it's, you know, stupid rule. Nobody should hit him. It's kind of one of those things. But to run him off the field, you know, I think is another, you know, just crazy rule. But, you know, he runs off the field and then the guy takes it, you know, punt return for a touchdown. I'd rather have 15 yards than 6 points, to be honest with you. But, you know, Cal didn't, you know, he didn't care. He's a young guy, just ran down the field, looked pretty good. I liked his effort down the field. What are you gonna do? We don't have to coach that often, but obviously it came up and we'll coach it a little bit, but I wouldn't run completely off the field.
So you weren't mad at him for doing that. It was more frustration at the role, I guess, and that.
Yeah, but we just, you know, it started off with a hold on the first play. That's, you know, we would have had him pinned inside the 5, then it's a hold, then we back us up, make us kick again, and then, you know, his helmet pops off, and he's giving great effort. So right there it says effort. It doesn't say effort with your helmet on or helmet off. The dude gave effort, and he's a great kid.
The announcers thought maybe it was yanked off. Did you see anything like that?
I don't know. It's hard to tell in the scrum.
You mentioned how Olsen was blocking for Hall on a lot of those runs. I mean, is he a guy that's sort of, I don't know if ego is the right word, but swallows his pride and says, I'm going to help regardless of if I'm carrying it or if I'm blocking as a fullback?
Yeah, I mean, he did a great job Saturday. I mean, when you look at, you know, he had a winning performance, you know, blocking with, you know, the 2 tailback sets, and, you know, he's an unselfish guy, you know, that probably had just a rough week last week, period, but came out and fought and you know, had a great week. Really ends up. Oh. Billy, anything over there? Quiet. You give me Wednesday night. Huh?
I'm all ears.
Pat, did you see a step forward with the front 7 for the performance of you?
Say it again, Jeff.
Did you see a step forward with your front 7?
Kinda. You know, still not where you want it to be. I saw some hesitation and saw some linebackers should be filling faster and smacking somebody. You know, they're still trying to figure it out there. They're still young and not as physical as you'd like them to be. And they got to play more physical this week against, you know, Virginia, because they are physical. They'll hit you in the mouth, and we got to come down and hit people in the mouth. We try to, you know, there's times we're out there we're trying to do other people's jobs instead of just stick your nose in there and whack somebody in your gap, and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it popping out. And I think until we start just trusting each other around us 100% of the time and be physical, that we're going to be the same.
And what about Jester? I mean, went in a couple of combat catches, especially one down there at the 5. That really kind of, I mean, it's been an up and down kind of season for him. To see him make that play, is that something that you appear to develop some sort of chemistry with that? Is that something?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the ball's maybe a little bit underthrown, but you know, the thing is, he competed to go get the ball, and he did a heck of a job of going to get it, and he had to, you know, again, come back to get the ball. But, you know, Jester's always competing for the ball. Sometimes he'll wait thinking it's going to be laid out here, you know, so it's hard to, you know, judge that. But, you know, Jester's had a pretty solid year. I mean, you should see the 2, you know, you're always playing a guy over top of him with a guy, you know, underneath him. So he's getting a lot of double coverage there, but we're still able to get it up to him.
Is that guy over the top this week maybe going to be landing, who seems to make a lot of plays for them at the safety spot?
Yeah, he's usually the guy, you know, in the deep end, and the other safety will be down, you know, the rolled up guy. So I would assume we might get some of that.
What makes him and Kaiser, I guess, how do you try to avoid letting them get to you either with a pick or a forced fumble or a sack?
Execute, you know. I mean, you got to execute. You know, you got to do a pretty good job of pre-snap of knowing where they are and what they're doing, and that'll be, you know, the offensive center's job of, you know, directing traffic up front, the quarterback knowing, you know, that look.
How's Motley playing?
Felipe, you know, came back and had a real good week. Not only practice-wise, took him a little bit of time to get back, but Felipe's back and ready to roll, and he'll obviously have a bigger role here moving forward, just because he went out and did a nice job playing some corner and some of our nickelback.
With y'all being 3-5 now, with 4 games like that, you know, even if things seem kind of difficult or kind of low for your team at times, how much do you use bowl eligibility as sort of, you know, as a sort of a motivational tool, proverbial carrot?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, you know, I don't. You know, we haven't mentioned it one time the entire year. You know, in this meeting room here. So, you know, it's not anything we talk about, because we start looking, you know, ahead, especially with a young football team. You'll get whacked in, you know, even with an older team. we're not worried about that. We're just worried about winning the next one and take them one at a time, and then let the chips fall as they will.
Second halves have been at times where the team has struggled recent weeks against these teams. Do you think a win like Duke, how they pulled it out at the end, may give them a little more sense of confidence or mentally when if they're in another close game?
Yeah, I think it does. But, every game's different, and I think it's just one play at a time. Plays last about 6 seconds apiece, and just keep, stacking 6 seconds on top of each other for 60 minutes, and you got a chance. But, again, same thing. Can't look forward to, hey, we're going to win it in the fourth. Just win it the next play. Forget about the last one. Just keep, stacking them on top of each other. But it's really not the second half. It's the first half. There's some things we could do in the first half to get, a bigger jump on them, but we don't. And we just got to play each play like it's your last play and go. But it's but obviously we'd like to have a better second half. But we can't worry about just the second half or the third quarter. It's just each play. It's kind of the philosophy we take.
There was one punt return where Robert took it instead of Quadric Henderson, and Maddox returned one kick. Are you guys just trying different guys back there? Or?
No, we got to drink more of this. This Propel right here is good stuff. You got to drink more water. Just kind of cramping up. More of a cramp issue. But we got confidence in Maddox kickoff return. He had one of the better. So did Ra. So maybe freshness is good. But those guys, every day they go out there and return punts, so they know what they're doing. So we'll just go with whoever's ready to go.